So in this one, we've picked Toxic Zombies number 4 and against Knights. I assume that the Knights will have weapons and will be stronger. I could have made it 2-1. We'll just get this started. And I've made it, given them a third because they might have shields as well. But these are medium Knights actually, so no shields. So it might be better to do 2-1, but it's 3-1 in this case. I've picked the desert, but it's raining. Toxic number 4 zombies are similar to toxic number 3. Slow motion as they come into the first attack. So they're slashing, two-handed slashes with weapons. But zombies are no slouches either. We can check the hit points, which we should do really quickly here. 1,000 for the Knights. 1,800 for the zombies. So it still could go either way. Maybe 2-1 would have been better. So we'll have a look at the flanks at this stage. The zombies have the numbers, 3-1 like I said. They will try to outflank, and they are. They're outflanking on this side. On the other flank, at the other end, the medium Knights are holding their own, and they're holding their own now here. But they're really getting encircled as they're pulling in reserves from the centre. They could actually get cut off here if they don't reinforce this line here as well. We'll just check the other side. And on this flank, the same sort of situation more or less. Trying to be outflanked. We take a look at the numbers. The zombies are going down slowly, about the same rate as the Knights, even with those hit points. So I would say it's, even at this stage, a foregone conclusion, literally, that these zombies will take out the Knights. So it would have been better if they gave them even Stevens, which I could do now, just to see how it goes. So rather than staying, which is you can do as well in this battle, do two sides the same, even though their hit points are slightly different. So if you were doing something similar in this case, you'd have two options. Play the whole thing to see how it goes, which is practically a fair gone conclusion. Like I said, the Knights will lose. Or you can nuke and start again doing evens, even though the hit points are different. The Knights have swords. So, in fact, I might just try that. Do none. Let's do the nuke. And there's the nuke. Everyone goes flying. They've been not vaporized, they've been sent flying. And the Knights win that one. So let's try round 2. We've gone and started round 2. And what I've done is made them even, just under 10,000, 9,000 each. And we'll see how this battle goes. So they're running in. Slow motion. And two-handed, almost a broadsword. They have very long swords. And regardless of the hit points, I think it should be an evens battle, more or less. And as we look at the numbers going down, you can actually see that it's more or less even Stevens, even with the hit points. So we'll see who tries to outflank each other. The zombies, just for their in the center, it's actually even from that angle. It's much more even. So the Knights are trying to encircle them almost a little bit. And on this flank, we shall check. they're trying to encircle on the other side a little bit. So real classic even Stevens battle. I made it 9,000 as well because I knew if I made it 30 or 40,000 it would take forever, and that's not what I wanted to do for several reasons. Namely, one, we worked out what the ratio should be, and also it would take just so long. It was a blind test as well on the hit points because I had no idea until I checked them in that first round. So as we can see, a quarter now, literally of both sides, have been taken out. And there's still almost even Stevens battle. As we get lower and lower, one side will start dominating, but it's anybody's guess at this stage still. Now the zombies are doing a little bit better on this flank. We should go to the other flank and have a look. And lo and behold, yes, the knights are doing better on this flank. They're actually really trying to encircle. And they're pulling reserves in from the centre of the zombies. If they can really snake round, if they can start really starting an encirclement. Not quite half there yet. But like I said, I wanted to make it not more than 10,000 because it would take a very long time. That's why I didn't do 30,000 or even 50,000 or more. Also gives you a bite-sized battle of watching in a few minutes rather than watching, say, half an hour long. If, of course, you wanted to do a really big battle, you could mix it up with archers and knights and even cavalry if they have them. But they might not work the same way, like cavalry might run in and then stop. You might want the cavalry running around and so on, which I don't think quite works with a lot of units in this game, at least not yet. And I moved the characters, or these two sides, into the centre of the game, because if you remember, if I've posted the early battles, if it takes you to the edge of the map, then that can be a real pain and never finish. So they're now down to almost half size each. And the knights are really trying to outflank. But the zombies are holding their own, and on this side it's the reverse. The zombies are trying to outflank and encircle. Even with the hit points being different, those weapons mean that the medium knights have that little bit more hit range. So it really is working out evens battle. So you can do a test battle. If you do 1-on-1, it might not be as accurate as doing 100 or 1,000 characters against an opposite character. That can give you an indication. Of course, I did it way too big in the beginning, hence why I nuked them in the first round to end it. So the centre, you can see they are striking. The zombies are trying to hit with no weapons, just with brute force. Of course, I'll turn the sound off, so you would get the game sounds if you weren't doing a recording or you wanted the game sounds. If I tried to do it in a recording, it could be overpowering or too loud, at least when you get close up. Of course, it's creating a mound in the centre. This flank is getting a bit elongated, a little bit, but there's plenty of reserves to call in. Should be the reverse still on the other side, as we can see. It's down to now 1/3 of units left. It's almost anyone's guess, except that Team 2, as you can see in the stats on the top right, have now got 100 more extra units compared to Team 1. It's finally beginning to separate. One side is dominating the other side. So when it gets down to the last few hundred, it may be a bit more clearer. because technically it's still anybody's game at this stage, unless those numbers increase. The numbers in the death rate, if you look at the top right, are slowing down a little as well. They're not going down as fast, which means your game will take longer as well. So another reason why not to do huge amounts of units if this happens. And as we can see on this flank, they've now cut them in two. Now, unless the zombies can hold on, there'll be reserves coming in on this side. We will just check the other side. And it's split as well. The knights are reinforcing, so I think this side will be good end first, because the zombies are not reinforcing. Not enough anyway. So the knights can really push in. It's now about 100. Still 100 only extra. The zombies are now reinforcing on this side. They're encircling on this flank, this new flank, which means it should be the opposite on this side. Yes, it really is an evens battle, so that was working out really nicely. And they're reinforcing, so it's split into three separate battles: a central big battle and these two smaller flank battles, which are being constantly reinforced. They're not actually being destroyed and then reinforcements going to the center. They keep on reinforcing, so they keep fighting the three separate battles, which are getting more and more separated. The knights are really taking out here. The zombies are finally bringing in reinforcements to keep them going. But if the knights can destroy this zombie battle here, they can hit them from two sides, which they are trying to do relatively well, but the zombies are holding their own. But they're now not reinforcing again. This might be because the line of separation is quite deep, so as soon as these zombies are taken out and these medium knights going for reinforcement, we'll check the other side because that's still going on the other flank. They're about to do it and see reinforcements going. So the zombies are now going to be being hit from two sides. They're creating a new separate flank and having to reinforce. And if we look on this flank, the knights are still doing quite well. They're holding up. Even if these zombies defeat all the knights here, they've only got a smaller reserve to go in. And the knights here now are really encircling. So they're really hammering the zombies. And if we look at the numbers, it's still only about 100. In theory, it still could go either way. The zombies are going to destroy these knights. They'll have a smaller reserve, but it's still reserves nonetheless. As it's the last few hundred. So they're going in. Now we'll separate some of the knights, but the knights have still got more numbers going in to destroy this zombie reserve. So this will be a foregone conclusion, but it's just how much time zombies can keep these knights held up, because if we look at this flank, the zombies have taken out those knights. It's still just about 100 more. It's a real good evens battle, but it's down to the last 400 or so each. It actually looks like the zombies have more numbers actually than the knights. It's a real good attritional battle. Each side's trying to do each other out, and they're forming a new line parallel. Or is it perpendicular to the original battle lines? So at a 90-degree angle, a new line has formed, but they have so little numbers they can't fully encircle. They can't outflank each other. It's going to be a battle, a slog to the death. It's 250 against 370 now. It looks like the Knights have the upper hand. And as I said, as you get into the final numbers, it actually trickle slows down. The speed of the deaths just slow down the numbers. I've noticed that, and you will notice that if you do the game. It gets slower and slower. In most cases, maybe not in every case, but in most cases, or many cases certainly, including this one. So both sides again are trying to outflank the other. But as you can see now, the numbers have really opened up. 100 against 260. So not 100 anymore. It looks like the Knights have the numbers. And yes, it's coming into the final stage. It's turning into night as it's been a long battle. But it is at the final stages. Like I said, if it was at like 30,000, this battle would have been going on for ages. It's getting darker, but you can just see the Knights are now fully encircling, and they will take out the last of the toxic zombies. One left and job done. Still a very good evens battle. There's the blood and battle trail. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching.